water or liquid or whatever you're filling it with. Surface area is wrapping the present. Okay, so we are wrapping presents. So here's my present, here's my box. So we have this formula. It's on your blue sheet. Okay, surface area of a prism is 2 big B plus pH. So we need to decide which side we want to be our base. Do you want your base to be the background with the squares, or do you want your base to be the skinny rectangle? It does not matter. The background? Okay. Doesn't matter. So we'll make it the background. So we're going to shade in the background. Nobody really said anything. So if my formula is 2 big B plus pH, last time I'm replacing big B with something, big B on your blue sheet is area of the base. So how do I find the area of a rectangle? Because my base is a rectangle. Length times width. So big B is being replaced with length times width. And then this is weird. This is new. We have a P. What does P stand for on your blue sheet? Perimeter. So that's the perimeter of the base. So in this part, we're going to pause really quick. We're going to figure out what the perimeter of the base is. Perimeter is where you add up all the sides. So for my base, what 2 numbers am I adding? Like multiple times. 10 and 14. So you're really doing like 10 plus 10 plus 14 plus 14. You don't have to write this because you should be able to figure it out. What's my perimeter? Not 44. Close. 48. Okay, so P is going to be 48. So what's my length and my width? 10 and 14. My perimeter is 48. And then what's the height of my 3D shape? 4.5. So we're going to multiply both sides, and then we're going to add it together. So this side you should get 280. On the other side, you should get 216. So when you add them together, what do we get? 496. Stop. Okay. I like hear it scratching and it's like hurting my soul. That's why I don't do that. I know some teachers do that. And I just like, now it's dirty and ugly. Now you're using your sweater. Okay, try this problem at the bottom. Try number 4. Try your prism. Wow. Yeah. Now it's nice and wow, this just wow. Oh, yeah, and Miss Dolan did come by. She said that she's not giving out any of these. So last week I think I told you that they were gonna put a couple in each classroom and you might get lucky, but they decided like, how am I gonna decide who gets the calculator and who doesn't? So if you bring your own calculator, you can use your own calculator. If not, they're gonna make you use the online calculator. So starting on Wednesday, I'm taking away the calculators. So when we start EOC reviewing, and then I'm just gonna make you use the online calculator. So we like take up the computers and like.
Where do we get calculators like this?
This is from Walmart. This is from Target. This is from Amazon. They're like I bought this one for like $7 because it's pink and I spent the extra money on it because I was like, well, if I have the option, why not buy a big one? Okay. What'd you get? That's correct. Okay, so what do we get for our answer? 872. Your length and your width, if you switch them, it should be 8 and 17. It doesn't matter which one goes first technically, so don't get tripped up because one's the length, one's the width. It doesn't matter. You're multiplying it. The perimeter of the base is 50 because you have two sides that are a distance of 8. You have two sides that are 17. So your perimeter is 50. And then the height of the object is 12. So you should get 872. Let's go to the next shape. So the next shape is a cylinder. Okay, so if you look at your formula sheet, a prism and a cylinder are both in the same exact little section. Surface area is the same formula. It changes because one has a base that is length times width, one has a base that is a circle. So this is going to change because we are not using big B as length times width anymore. Big B is changing. What is the formula I would use for a circle? Pi r squared. And if you don't know that, you would look at your circle. Your circle has a couple formulas. You have area is pi r squared. You have circumference, which is 2 pi r or pi d, doesn't matter. So we're gonna replace big B with pi r squared. So what's my radius? Four. Now I have to find the perimeter of a circle. Does anybody know how to find the perimeter of a circle?
No.
Look at your formula sheet. Nope. Where do you find it? Look at your circle. We have area. And then we have circumference. Circumference is the distance around the outside of a circle. So for perimeter, because you can't really add up the sides of a circle because the circle has no sides, okay, you're using circumference. So we're going to use 2 pi r, or you can use pi d. Most people will just use 2 pi r though automatically. So my radius is still 4. So in a calculator, I'm going to multiply these three things together. I'm going to use a couple of the decimals because you don't want to really round until the very end. So we're going to do 2 times 5 times 4. So 25.13. Nope, because it's not radius. It's circumference. So circumference is just 2 pi r. Hello. Okay.
So. You're the chosen one for today.
Okay. And then what's my height? Okay, so we're going to multiply. We're going to do the exponent. We're going to multiply. We're going to multiply, and then we're going to add them together. So remember, you have to do the exponents first. That's the only important part that you have to do. So you have to do 4 squared first, which is 16. And then you're multiplying by pi, multiply by 2. It doesn't matter the order that you do the multiplication in, as long as you multiply them together. So over here, you should get 100.53-ish. And then over here, I'm multiplying my circumference, which represents the perimeter of the circle. So when you add them together, what do you get as your final answer? It's a nice number. 578. So I'm a ding dong and I forgot to put a cylinder down at the bottom. So we're gonna move on to a cone. My bad. I accidentally put 2 cones. I don't know how I did that, but we're gonna move on to a cone. So the cone formula on your blue sheet is surface area equals big B plus pi r h with a little s. And that little s throws off people. So if you look at your formula sheets and you look at the key, it tells you what? It's a slant height. So instead of literally the height going straight up, okay, we don't need the height. We don't need to use a Pythagorean theorem to find the height because we have this little guy, which is a slant height. And if you don't know that, now you know because it says that right here. Okay, so we're going to use this formula. Big B needs to change every single time. So what's big B going to change to? Pi r squared, because we still have a circle as our base. So pi r squared, then we have pi, and we have r, then we have hs. And you're like, whoa, double pi. That's okay. So what's my radius that I'm going to plug in for both of these r's? (7.2) squared plus pi times 7.2. And then people are like, I have to plug in something for h and s. No, they're together. So what's my slant height? 17. So same thing, we're going to do the exponents first. We're going to multiply by pi. And then over here, we're just going to multiply straight across. We're going to get 2 separate numbers and we're going to add them together. Oh my God. My husband put it on yesterday. I was like, he turned it on and I was like, he just like turns on random things all the time. And he put it on and I was like, is this Twilight? He was like, I don't know. Because he's always messing with me. I don't know why. And then it like showed them running in the woods. And I was like, I forgot it's Twilight. I haven't seen it in so long.
I love
I literally.
No.
No.
It's a romance. It's like a fantasy romance with like werewolves and vampires.
Yeah. It like came out when I was in high school. And everybody was like obsessed with it.
This is the skin color Bella.
And the first one is so bad of acting. It's so.
I don't really like cold, wet things. It's like, okay.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
Stop. I love it so much. It's long hair.
It's so
Oh,
terrible, but I love it. Okay, anyways, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it because it's just so cringy. It's hilarious.
I love it though.
Okay, yeah, me too. Okay, when you add them together, what's the final answer? Okay, because there's 2 columns down at the bottom, I don't want you to have to do both of them. Just try number 2 real quick. You can cross out number 5. Try number 2. Take a second, try your cone, use your formula, maybe look at this blue sheet. This is very overwhelming. I would rather you be overwhelmed now looking at this than looking at it later during the EOC. A lot of weird formulas.
Wow. It looks like a. Yeah.
Clear. Clear map.
I can't.
You're like flat.
Yeah, you're like actually type of the brown.
Here's the thing.
This is on your
Here's
EOC.
the thing. I just watched the videos and then I.
So should I not be uploading the YouTube videos then?
No, I actually appreciate videos that leave me alive. It's just an illusion. I'm like fascinated.
What is that?
Just like
You're wasting your personal time when you could just be using the time in class to do the math instead of doing it outside and wasting your free time.
I can't
Because
focus.
you're not free right now.
I can't focus in school. I can focus outside of school. I don't know what it is. Like I can just focus so much better. Like outside of school, like when I can like hang on music on the speaker, I can have the fan blowing in my face.
And have my voice playing in the background, explaining math.
Well, when you're explaining math, like I don't have a music, but like I figured out. I turn my I'm like Alexa, play Coming Up Boom.
I Next time, like, go on over.
Especially because I film it during the class. I should text your mom and be like, you should watch today's YouTube video. You're actually subscribed to it because Claire already subscribed to it. Yelling at your child.
I genuinely like cried on the last movie though. I was like, I was small. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Oh my. The worst CGI job ever. I got it.
Listen, it was like 2011. We didn't have really good graphics.
You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness monster.
Oh my god. Okay, number 2.
You named my daughter after the Loch Ness monster.
What's the answer?
1,847.26.
Yes, 1,847.26. Now, these two shapes are on your EOC. You're gonna have you're gonna have pyramid, you're gonna have sphere, for sure. Everything else, maybe, I don't really know. Okay. They always put a pyramid on there, they always put a sphere on there. I don't know why. Pyramid is the worst formula, sphere is the easiest formula, so maybe it's a little bit of both, you know? So we have big B plus 1/2 P and then slant heights. So we're gonna start with just writing the formula. What is big B gonna be replaced with for a pyramid? Length times width. Because it's a square or a rectangle. I'm not going to use pi r squared because it's not a circle. That would not make sense. So we're going to use length times width. Shh, be quiet. Plus 1/2. Now we need to find P. P is the perimeter of the base. So off to the side, let's find perimeter. It's a square. Each side is 8.8. So you're doing 8.8 plus 8.8 plus 8.8 plus 8.8. How much is the perimeter? $35.2. So the perimeter of the base is 35.2. My length and the width are also 8.8. So I'm doing 8.8 times 8.8 or 8.8 squared plus 1/2. The perimeter we found is 35.2. What's my slant height? 12.5. So you're going to multiply both sides, and then we're going to add them together.
That's a lot. Yeah, 2 minutes. I think the first one, because I have the AP year example, and it starts like right.
Oh, crap.
Oh my god, I need to get a gift for my friend's birthday. It's not what she has no something. And so I texted my other friend, Enid, and I was like, hey, what are we getting her for? I was like, that is a good question. My friend's birthday is tomorrow. She's, first thing she has to say after she's done AP exam, she stands till 4 o'clock for AP one exam.
My friend's birthday is today. I need to text her.
Oh my gosh, and I was like, okay, what are we getting? He's like, oh, that's a good question. He's like, oh, what time are you free? Like, I'm just looking to know, like, what are you?
Okay. Try the pyramid at the bottom. Try number 1. Try number 1 now. Try number 1. Try your pyramid. You got this. I believe in you.
I swear this was just like, I see it both ways and it's freaking down. I hate to use.
So you add, so the perimeter is the perimeter of the base. So you add up 8.8 4 times because it's a square. So try your pyramid at the bottom.
It's so weird. I see it 2 ways.
It's messing with your eyeballs.
This is not safe. This is not really big. I don't like this. It's okay. It's okay. To me, it's five. I got some one pen. What the? I know I'm just doing 56 times 35. To add them all and I multiply them all. Oh. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. It's the exact right. Okay. That's it. I got it. This bit. That because I know it's 16.
Yeah.
8, 9, 6.
Okay. You should get a perimeter of 56 for number 1. You're doing length times which is 14 times 14 because the base is a square. 1/2 times the perimeter of the base, which is 56, because you're going around 14 plus 14 plus 14 plus 14. The slant height is 25. You get 896. Okay, the last shape is a sphere. This one is very easy. You're not replacing big B. You're not replacing the perimeter. You're just plugging in R, which is beautiful. Amazing. Okay. So we have 4 pi r squared. So my radius is always going to be half of the diameter. So I'm given the radius, it's 19. So in a calculator, we're just doing 4 pi 19 squared. The key with this is PEMDAS for life, exponents first, and you multiply.
1,536 points.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Try your sphere at the bottom. Easy peasy. That's it. So try number 3 at the bottom.
What are we over soon? Wait till the morning that
Okay, number 3 at the bottom. You should not be using 24. Simmer down. Simmer down.
You say somehow.
I said simmer down.
So you should start saying Sabal.
You should.
You know what Sabal means?
No, too old for your
It's
lingo.
a beautiful ass hug.
Try number 3.
I did.
Are you done?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
1,809.56.
That's correct.
Yay.
Okay. So for number 3 at the bottom, you should not use 24. You should be using 12. 24 is the diameter. You need the radius, which is 12. So 12 squared is 144. 144 times 4 times pi gives you 1,809.56. On the back, we're going to do 2 more problems together. Okay. On the back, we have double-sided pyramids. So there's a pyramid and there's a pyramid attached. So it says determine the surface area of the conjoined square base pyramid shown. The pyramids have a slant height of 13.6. So my slant height's not in my picture, but it is given to me. If you think about this, your formula that's given for a pyramid is big B plus 1/2 PH with a little s. So we're going to write that first. Big B plus 1/2 PHS. if you think about what surface area actually is, you're given something and you're taking wrapping paper and you're going around the outside. Now, if these two pyramids are conjoined, does the wrapping paper ever touch the base in the center? No, because if I'm wrapping it with a piece of paper, my wrapping paper is never going to touch that middle section. So this formula is broken up into two pieces. B represents the area of the base. My wrapping paper is never touching the base because it's going around the outside of the shape. So I do not need to include big B with this equation because I'm talking about how much surface area is around the whole object. Now this would represent one pyramid. How many pyramids are in this picture? Two. So what do I have to do with this formula? Multiply by 2 because there's 2 pyramids. Okay, I need to find P, which is the perimeter of the base. So take a second. You're finding the perimeter of the base. You can either add it 4 times, which is a lot of work, or you could multiply by 4. What's my perimeter? 44.8. So 2 times 1/2 times 44.8. And what's my slant height? 13.6. And I don't like the way all those dots look because it's going to get confusing with the decimal. So I'm going to use parentheses. When you plug this into the calculator, you should recognize something that's going to happen. Because just take a second, multiply them all together. Yeah, so the 1/2 and the 2 technically cancel each other out because you're cutting it in half. And then you're multiplying by 2. So realistically, the 2 and the 1/2 cancel each other out. If you recognize that, then you don't have to do it. If you don't recognize it because you're just mindlessly doing math, then you're just going to multiply by 2 and then it's going to end up canceling out anyways. Either way, you should get 109.28. 609, sorry. 609.28 as your final answer. The formula that's given to you is this. You have to cancel out big B because you don't have the bases. And you're doubling it because there's 2 pyramids. So try number 7. Does that mean bless you?
I don't know what it means. I know it's German, right? It's all, I think that it's like. Wait, what did German say? That's German, right? I think it is German.
Okay, what do we get as our answer?
952.
952. So the big B goes away. You're realistically doubling 1/2. So the 1/2 and the 2 technically cancel. If you don't remember that, it's okay. You're doing the perimeter of the base times the height, the slant height, which is 952. The last problem we're going to do together is working backwards for a sphere. So if the surface area of a sphere is given as 576 pi, we are going to find the diameter. So what's my formula for surface area of a sphere? Pi r squared. This one we've technically done before with area. We're doing the same thing for surface area. 576 pi is over here. We're doing 4 pi r squared. So what can I cross off on both sides? Pi. So pi goes away. What can I divide by on both sides? 4. So 576 divided by 4 gives me how much? $144. How do I get R by itself? Square root it. So what's my radius? My radius is 12. So the final answer is finding the diameter. 24. The only one that you're going to get a decimal for is at the very, very bottom, but it ends up being a nice number at the very end. So if you freak out because you get a decimal at the very last one, it's okay because it ends up being a whole number in the very end. You have plenty of time to do this before. Oh, do you have plenty of time? Why is this class period like take so long?
Oh, no, that's what I asked.
I think it's because like half the time I'm like talking to myself. The only one who answers my questions is you. So then it takes forever compared to other classes. Sometimes we get them, but sometimes I'm just like, and 2 times 2 is.
2 times 2 equals 184.
The other classes are like, 1 is gone. Okay, anyways,